looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book store's got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, welcome back. We got some exciting tournament coverage for you today. We've got the top 8 of the PizzaBox Open Explorer event. John Likes Games and HearSayTTV providing the commentary. As always, you can find all their content in the description below, same as the links to any deck list from this tournament. Don't forget, we host 3 tournaments a month, all free to play. Our next tournament is going to be a standard event, so definitely get in on that action. And I hope you enjoy the video.
If I could work from home in the north, I would do it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Having to drive in it.
The winters can be pretty cruel.
Yeah. And there's just no excuses either. Oh, we got 3 feet of snow last night. Why aren't you at work?
Yeah, it's like it's a windy thing.
Yeah, that's not an excuse. You know, you get to work or whatever, right? So I don't know. You know, down here you get hot, but you get an air conditioning too. So it's whatever. But looks like it's going to be. Are we on Rakdos mid-range? Rakdos mid-range? Is that what we're looking at?
I think this is Rakdos. Yeah.
All right. So welcome to the top 8. Folks, welcome to the top 8. It has been a blast getting here, and thank you all for being here. We are in the quarterfinals. There will be yet another round before the finals here, but thank you for everybody who has stuck with us this whole tournament. Jeez, it has been a blast. Looks like Dustyn was going to start things off with a Blood Crypt, and that Blood Crypt is going to come in tapped. Tobil is going to pay the life of the Blood Crypt and hit a turn 1 Thoughtseize to strip out a Graveyard Trespasser here in turn 1. Then Dustyn is going to go ahead and get Blood Tithe Harvester onto the battlefield as their turn 2 play, curving out pretty nicely. But notably, there is an item missing from Dustyn's hand, folks, for the turn 3. That is that good old-fashioned LAND. If you can't make your land drops, it is going to be unlikely that you win this video game. Now, what do you discard here? Is it a Chandra Torch Defiance? Yeah, it looks like Dustyn did, in fact, go for the Chandra Torch Defiance. Of course, being where, you know, they had a duplicate, and it's a 4-mana card, so they weren't ready to be casting it yet. Admittedly, always feels bad. Chandra, very, very powerful card, right? So having to discard it, not ideal, right? You always feel a little bit, you know, anxious about that. You're giving up the power of your deck to try and make land drops, and then you might flood, and it's like, you know, a little bit brutal, right? But it's okay. It's okay, you know. And here, they did make their land drop, so the game is not over. Looks like, oh boy, Tobil goes for a Fable of Mirrorbreaker. Are you on Graveyard Trespasser or Fable here? Fable helps you make land drops.
Fable helps you find some stuff, but I think Graveyard is just good because you're going to gain some life. You're going to do a little bit of damage, and it's a great blocker. So you don't see that treasure. It's either they're going to just throw it to the wind so they can get a treasure, or they have removal for the Trespasser. But the Trespasser is also a card advantage because you have to discard a card in order to get rid of it. So
sure. Now, folks, you should know that this is in fact a air quotes mirror match, right? These are both Rakdos mid-range decks, and they're both trying to accomplish similar things. They're both running some number of Fable the Mirrorbreaker. In this case, that's 4 for both of them. They're both running some number of Chandra Torch Defiance, 3 in one list, 2 in the other. They're both running 4 Bone Crusher Giants. They're both running 4 Graveyard Trespasser. They're both running 4 Blood Tithe Harvester. So there are plenty of similarities in both lists, but there's also plenty of other ways that these lists deviate a great deal. This is not a settled list where just everybody's running the same 75. Heavens no. These are very, very dissimilar in many different ways. There's cut to ribbons in one list. There's several Bedevil and Heartless Act in another list. There's an Unlicensed Hearse main deck in the one list. There's Glory Bringers and Hazarets in one list. There's even Murderous Rider in one list. These are wildly different once you get past kind of that little bit of a core of Rakdos powerful cards, let's say, right? Oh boy, Fable the Mirror Breaker doing its thing. What do you loot away?
I'm looting the den and I'm looting the glory bringer.
Really? What if you don't draw land?
It's a big risk, but you have a tap land and you're trying to progress your board against a player that is already going to be up to 7 mana. I just don't think you can win when someone's ahead that far ahead of you.
So now do you agree with this then? Suiciding the goblin?
I do agree with this.
Now, do you go after the reflection of Kiki Jiki, or do you go after the Bone Crusher Giant?
No, you're going after Kiki. You have to kill Kiki because next turn they're gonna get another Bone Crusher Giant.
Sure. Fair enough. Fair enough. Turns out that card is stupid. You know?
Yeah, that card is dumb.
Yeah. And here it is. Tobil crashing in for 6 damage down to 11. Kind of rough. Now, is it just you've committed? Didn't discard the Glorybringer. Are you committed to the Glorybringer now? Is it jam, kill the Bone Crusher Giant, pray? Or are you on Chandra something here?
You're, at this point, you are Glorybringer and pray.
That's fair. That's a reasonable plan, I think. Because admittedly, the Kolaghan's command is quite strong. You could plus Chandra for mana, Kolaghan's command away, like the shaman, but then you kind of have to. It feels like you would be priced into chump blocking, and if they have removal, you get blown out, right? I think I agree. And for what it's worth, Bone Crusher Giant is a heck of a clock.
It can be.
It's like it's shock with upside, but like it's also a 4/3. That
smells like removal. Yeah, smells like removal. The beauty part. Oh my goodness! So we're having quite the clock next turn.
Yeah, geez. Okay, so the negative side to the chosen line has come to fruition, and that's that if the Glorybringer doesn't connect, Bone Crusher Giant can kill you, and it did. So unfortunate. So we got a sideboard
removal. I don't think you need the hearse here.
No, but hearsay. Rakdos has got a lot of graveyard synergies and things, right? Is that not enough to justify the hearse, or are you just saying it's not enough value?
I don't think it's enough value. And when you know that the opponent is running Fatal Push, that's already going to kill it for 1 mana, because it's going to, even though when it does become a creature, and when you crew it, it's still 2 CMC, so Fatal Push can still kill it.
That's fair. That is fair. Now, notably, Dustyn did leave in the hearse. Do you think Dustyn is just prepared for the Rakdos Mirror? Maybe they played enough Rakdos Mirror, they know how they're going to sideboard? Or do you just feel like they went in with a plan that, okay, I've seen these cards, we're running pretty similar lists, these are the cards that really drive me crazy, and brought those cards in and just said submit?
Yeah, I think, and like when it gets to the point when you're playing against pretty much the mirror, you know the cards that you need in, and if there's no one card that you'd rather in, then it's just there's no point to changing it. Usually, like you're like, oh, it's just one card. I know the cards I needed in. If I have all those cards in without having to take out another card, then so be it.
Sure. Now, notably in the one list here, there are some really interesting cards in Frederick Tan's list. There's like Chandra Awakened Inferno, Sorin the Mirthless in the board. Are those sorts of cards coming in the matchup? Do you think is it grindy enough for those sorts of cards, or is
no? I don't. I think those are too expensive in a game that's mid-range / kind of aggro, because it can, like these Rakdos lists. The whole point of mid-range is that they can kind of do both things. They can be aggro, or they can make it the distance. Like that's kind of like usually the purpose of mid-range. And that Chandra Awaken the Inferno is most times it's for against the control match. If you want that uncounterable threat that comes in and that can actually do something and create those emblems, because those emblems are they cannot be interacted with.
Sure. And once they're there, they're there. Now, but is there not something to be said for maybe the exile portion of Chandra mattering, being able to downtick and things, or maybe even sweep the board on the middle minus? Is that just not enough for the 6 mana you have to sink? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's just not enough, because it turns out to be like the opponent has to have a board state or they know what they're doing, kind of thing. Blah 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 blah. It ends up against in this kind of matchup a 6 mana do nothing. Yeah, you can plus and do this, and you can minus to wipe the board, which I think is like, does it do -3 to non-elementals, or does that the one?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yep.
No, yeah.
Yep. It's Sweltering Suns non-elementals essentially.
Yeah. So it just becomes like one of those cards that just ends up being a 6 mana do nothing. Hopefully it can, but against a list that's similar to yours, it's just it ends up being a dead card.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. Now, notable that.
Oh, big draw, big draw.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I was about to say, it's notable that Dustyn here is kind of flooding out, you know, and I'm surely Dustyn's hoping for things like Fable the Mirror Breaker to come off the top, but man, Meat Hook Massacre coming off the top, that feels great, right?
Yeah, it's a big draw, especially when the opponent has played a Fable. Get rid of that Treasure Maker that's going to put them ahead, also put you down life. That was a big card.
Oh boy. Here is that Bone Crusher Giant. Just a nasty little 4/3. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I think because now you can Baleful and you can discard if you so choose to.
Yeah, but then you have to give Toby a card, right? Is that worth it?
They do have to give him a card, but I mean, you died to Bone Crusher Giant before. You're gonna die to it this time.
That's fair, I suppose. Now, from Toby's side, do you think it's worth it to just like get aggro here? Like maybe aggro. Oh no!
Yeah. So this Glorybringer is gonna eat it.
I bet.
So you still have a good blocker here in the Blood Tithe Harvester because it still kills Bone Crusher, chooses to swing. So this is still good.
Okay. Sure. Meat Hook Master is going to do work.
Yeah,
right?
Meat Hook. You can use the blood token here. Yeah, get rid of one of these lands that you don't need.
Sure.
And draw another land.
Draw another land that you certainly need, right? That's what you were trying to get at there, is that you need more lands.
You need more lands.
Yeah. All right. Well, down to the Bugbear. Getting in.
Oh, this is sneaky. Do you choose to block with this? Oh, good. Oh. Okay. That's a good read. That's a good read.
Oh boy. All right. So Toby, recognizing that a fatal push could be out there, elects to protect their Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Take the extra damage. 5 cards in hand to 2. And of course, Toby knows that Dustyn can't be doing anything too powerful with those remaining 2 cards because they could have cast anything in their list. They have 6 mana. They could have cast it, whatever it is, right?
This is brutal because they can make a copy of the Graveyard Trespasser and get in for 5. Okay.
Interesting.
I guess they want to be able to like swing with it next turn, so they're going to do this end step.
Yeah, must.
I think it would have baited it again if you didn't swing. So this is basically a read of saying I have Fatal Push. You literally you're like giving Toby saying I have Fatal Push in hand. I would have swung with the land again.
Yeah, this gives Toby an opportunity to flip the graveyard or into the Graveyard Glutton, and that's a powerful Magic card. Now, given what we've seen, if you're Toby, do you copy the Graveyard Glutton here?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's coming as a 4/4. You're gonna lose 2 life.
Well, I mean, I guess I was just advocating that maybe they copy the 3/3, because if the opponent has shown you they probably have Fatal Push, they could respond, right? Or no, I guess they can.
They can respond, but it's still gonna copy the token.
It would be very stupid to respond there. Yeah. All right, that's fair. Okay, well,
so you're taking this, but now you have fatal pushes online to get rid of Kiki.
Good grief. Sure enough. Well, that's going to mean
don't know if I'd be doing this.
That is.
You're gonna die of Bone Crusher Giant.
Though, admittedly, Rakdos has a lot of removal.
Yeah, and you're gonna draw a card here with no life loss too.
Yep. So.
And you do gain 2 life here off of these permanents going away as well.
Yeah. But and I guess sitting in Dustyn's seat, you've got to recognize they have 3 cards in hand. I'm gonna have to have some things go right. Maybe that's the plan. Is like, I need some help from my deck.
Oh man, John, this is the second time we've watched someone draw nothing but lands.
All right, folks, I feel like I'm supposed to issue a formal apology from the casting team for issuing the caster curse on these poor players.
Oh, these poor players.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you have to animate a Den of the Bugbear here to block, right?
Yeah. And then it's gonna die.
Okay, they don't. No Den of the Bugbear activation. Okay.
Lose 2 life here.
Down to 7. I mean, okay.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, so we can. This is good.
But we can't defend against either of the creature lands.
No, we can't. But this is fine. What is it? We take 4 minimum.
Yep. But and we don't gain any life here because these are exiled as opposed to destroyed. I mean, it's obviously worth it. What's the alternative? Die? So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying don't do it, clearly. I'm just saying, it's still sketchy.
And we still now we don't have the life total to draw.
Rough. Okay. Unfortunately, Toby does have the life total to draw. Draws a card down to 13, going to use the blood token to discard a card, then draw. Of course, pitches a useless land, puts another card into their hand, and then takes another card for the turn. 4 cards remain in hand, as well as an exiled Bone Crusher Giant just waiting to hit the battlefield. The question is, are you supposed to animate one of your lands, knowing your opponent could have drawn into, let's say, Fatal Push or something like that? Surely Toby is looking at this board state saying, this is my game to lose, right? How does Dustyn win is what Toby's thinking right now, right? Animating your land does give them an opportunity to fire off instant speed removal, right? Oh, shoot. Well, here's Blood-Tithe Harvester. That takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it.
So this is good, though, because now they can't activate their lands, right? Well, they can activate 1.
They can activate either one.
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
And the issue is being able to follow it up with an attack like that is very good. Now, admittedly, Toby did agree. Like, if the opponent has Fatal Push, they kind of set us back a great deal. So Toby is going for the line of attack big next turn, right? Animate the land, attack in with both Bone Crusher Giant, Blood-Tithe Harvester, and the land. Probably it's going to be the Den of the Bugbear, sending an extra goblin in as well.
You're gonna make some blockers here because that's what you have to do.
But that can happen at instant speed, right? Now the question is to me: do you fire off Blood Chief's Thirst? No, you can't, right? Because you'll go to 1. No, I guess you won't go to 1.
You die here. You die with this line.
Nah.
Oh no, you do. Okay, you can still channel. You can still channel and create 2 blockers.
Heartless Act feels quite bad. You didn't want to see that. You did not want to see that, but you shouldn't die. Okay, so your opponent went for that line. Did not fire off Fatal Push when the opportunity presented itself. Toby still resists the urge.
We do get the block, so sweet. This is good. No instant speed removal, so you can get the block off. And they lose life, which is good.
Indeed.
Okay, let's see. It's one of these games where you really wish you could see what Toby has in hand.
For real. That would change everything.
All right, come on, meat hook off the top.
Okay, does this do anything? Because
that's one. Okay, that's one. So we can get rid of. Nope.
Interesting. Okay. So.
No, you needed a board clear. I think the game's over. You needed a board clear.
Because you can block. Yeah. Okay. So you Blood Chief's Thirst the 2/2. Gain a life. Graveyard Trespasser is going to make you lose a life. Yeah, shoot. Because as long as Toby is brave enough to activate Den of the Bugbear, you're still in grave peril. What Dustyn is hoping for here is to be able to use Fatal Push post-combat after they have lost, permanence and Revolt is triggered, right? Rough. I'm
being told that we can look at this. Boom. I'm going to go over on table 4.
Ooh,
you stay here. You stay here on the losing side.
Well, that's I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I'm used to being on the losing side.
I mean, I'm a Philadelphia fan, so I'm not far off.
All right, fair enough. I mean, you did have the dream team. Wink, wink.
Yeah. At one point.
Yeah. I will admit.
This is a good card.
Okay, so if you're sitting there in Toby's seat, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, what's that last card that Dustyn has?
And
you know that you can't get rid of your Grave Trespasser because there's no cards to discard to. So you know that's a guaranteed. So what I'm thinking of going with, I would animate land and swing with all. But then there's also this card that's in hand that is spicy.
Definitely making things interesting.
And they're going off of this and saying guaranteed.
Okay, so Invoke Despair from Toby, saying no land activation. I'm going to make you sacrifice a creature, sacrifice an enchantment, lose 2 life, down to 2. And
Oh no! I mean, the game's over. I'm pretty sure because they can only block 1.
Yeah.
No, because Fatal Push is online.
Fatal Push is online now, but you can't hit
you can't hit the Bone Crusher.
You can't hit the Bone Crusher Giant because you'll lose 2 life. You can't hit the Graveyard Trespasser because you don't have a second card to discard. They also almost very, very close to being able to activate a Castle Lochthwain and be able to have a card to discard, which would also kill you. Yeah. But it would have made the game interesting. Real quick, I want to say a quick thank you to Hollywood Pizza for putting on this event. I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, Comic Book Store, and also to all the behind-the-scenes folks, moderators, and both Twitch mods and Discord mods, things like that help make these tournaments go off without a hitch. Seriously, big thank you to all of those wonderful folks. Definitely check them out. So big thank you to all of those wonderful folks. Looks like we are seated, folks. Looks like we are seated. Taraaasyk is where we are looking at, has kept their 7. And
going against the People's Champion.
Indeed. And oh, boy. All right. Feels good, man. EricZhou also kept 7, starting on an irrigated farmland, one of the 2-mana cycling lands. But always enters tapped. Of course, not a big deal. I doubt blue-white control had anything to do on turn 1 anyway. So Taraaasyk going ahead and starting on their tap land of their own. And EricZhou doing a little foretelling on turn 2. Do you pay the life here just to get the Tenacious Underdog onto the board?
Yeah, you're getting on the board. But the thing is, what the Rakdos has 2 cards that are dead in hand, which is Blood Chief's Thirst and Fatal Push. Because Azurius don't run creatures.
Okay, but Blood Chief's Thirst can get rid of Teferis and stuff, right?
That's true. It can get rid of Planeswalkers. So you are indeed correct. Okay, so 1 card is dead.
Now, if you want to argue that it's not very effective because if they hit a Teferi and still draw the card, it still feels kind of bad. Okay.
It still feels bad.
Okay, it feels pretty bad. But, I'm just saying, not dead. Dead means something, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. But what blue players love to do is play a land and pass and look in your eyes and see the hope fade.
It's fair. That's fair. As someone who has had plenty of the hope fade out of my eyes, yeah.
It's like, look right now, Taraaasyk is like, okay, what do I play here? That's a lot of open mana right now. Chandra, does it resolve?
Do you just slam Chandra here? You know it's almost certainly going to get counterspelled, right?
But it comes through.
It does make it to the battlefield. Look at that. Okay. So that means that has to be Doomscar then, as opposed to Sod coming? Or do you think they just said, okay, you can have Chandra, I'm going to have a Wandering Emperor, and let's battle? Is that, do you think, where it is?
That's pretty much, yeah, like, let's go. Okay. I'm gonna attack here. You're tapped out. I can make some damage here, so you're not going to be able to. If you want to minus this to get rid of it, then that's your own prerogative. Now sure. I get 2 creatures, but you do have removal now, because now Fatal Push is online, Blood Chief is online, even Bone Crusher is online right now.
Okay, so do you go after the creature or do you go after the Wandering Emperor?
I think you go after the creature.
Because that leaves you open to another Wandering Emperor, right? Where they just cast another Wandering Emperor and put a counter on it? Is that not a concern? Do you think that they're just like, I think right
now, I think they're trying to say, okay, the gates are open. If my Chandra landed, then they don't have a counterspell in hand.
Sure. Sure. All right. So 3-power creature, but with First Strike, does not match up overly well against Bone Crusher Giant. I'm assuming you just Fatal Push, because it's not like that's doing anything else, right?
Yeah, you're just Fatal Pushing here. That's just. So let's see if they can protect it by countering it.
Now, if they counter, do you chump to save Chandra when you have another one in your hand?
I think you let it go. Yeah, you let it go here. You have another Chandra in hand. You go to your turn. You can literally play a land. You can get rid of it. Yeah, Blood Chief's Thirst. Get rid of the token.
Okay. Sure.
Your Bone Crusher Giant's going to get rid of the Wanderer, and then you can Fable and see if that resolves.
Now, do you want to do this pre-combat?
I think so. An aggro list against control list, I think you definitely want to try to do as much as you can. And bringing this card up is huge. Yeah, get rid of that Teferi. That Teferi is gone. Yeah.
Now, you should know, folks, anyone who's never faced off against Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, because, it's been a hot minute since it was in Standard. Teferi has a lot of text on it, but there's actually a hidden passive on Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. It says, if you go 1 turn cycle with Teferi on the battlefield without being removed, you win the game.
You win.
It's hidden mode. You can't find that text on the card, but yeah. I promise it says that.
It's actually on the back of the card, and it still counts.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things, folks. What does a control deck want to do? As my illustrious companion here, HearSayTTV, was saying, they want to pass with mana open and watch the light and leave your eyes. Well, the only other component they do is draw cards. So they draw cards, pass the turn, draw cards, pass the turn. What are you doing? Doesn't matter. They're going to draw cards and pass the turn. And then they're going to interact on your turn. They're going to counter some spells. They're going to sweep some boards. They're going to do things, right? But drawing those extra cards is the key thing. If they're drawing 2 cards a turn and you can't interrupt that, you will lose. But I'm playing... Doesn't matter, right? If the control deck is drawing 2 cards a turn and they're going to stop you from doing whatever it is you're doing, because they have counter magic. They can interact on the stack. Oh, I'm doing creature stuff. Yeah, they'll kill your stuff. I'm doing planeswalker stuff. Doesn't matter. They'll counter it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. They will win. So, Taraaasyk here trying to do their best to push the tempo of the game, and by being able to disrupt the hand does kind of prevent some of the shenanigans that we were just discussing. Now, do you like this angle, trying to force out the...
Oh, that's another huge hot seas off the top. This definitely forces their hand to play out the Wandering Emperor, which makes them taking that damage all for nothing. Yeah, you're gonna exile the Bone Crusher Giant, I'm assuming. Gain 2 life.
All right, looks like.
Okay, you create a creature, but you're wiping the board. Like that's a Doomscar that's in, or is it? Let me see this list. Yeah. So there could be a Behold the Multiverse, or it's a Doomscar. My money is on it must be a Behold because they keep flooding the board with creatures.
Yeah, this line definitively says to me, "Behold the multiverse." It's got to be right, because no, it can't be right. It isn't in the main.
From the list that I'm looking at, it's in the main. There's one of in the main.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Nope. You're absolutely right. I was looking at the wrong list, so don't worry about it.
So who's awake there, John?
Not me. Like I say, folks, my sleep apnea machine acting up, and I am really struggling to get a nice sleep. But darn it, we're gonna battle. So yeah, it's got to be the Behold the Multiverse. It's the only other card on the list. There are 3 Doomscars, 1 Behold. It's weird though because they had an opportunity to draw cards earlier, right? So why would they not have fired it off?
I don't know. I think at this point, it's just they're trying to figure out the right timing of it. It has to be Behold because they keep looking at it. I'm assuming it's Behold because I think you would have board wiped a long time ago. So we get a 3/3 here. You can trade up, right?
Wow.
Okay, so this definitely says to me that has to be Behold, right? You just made another creature. It has to be Behold.
What on earth, folks? EricZhou has
these are stones. These are stones that EricZhou has.
Correct, folks. Absolutely. The bravest control player I have seen in ages. Like, yeah, and here is like the why, right? We were talking about card advantage and passing the turn and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing. EricZhou has not been able to arrange significant card advantage yet this game, right? No Teferi, they got rid of it. You know, the Wandering Emperor is generating creatures, but you know, they're all being matched by what Taraaasyk is up to, right? So you've got to protect your life total. That's the one area where you may falter, right? So when you're presented with an opportunity to trade away a relatively free creature with the Bone Crusher Giant and save 4 life,
oh man,
this is a big thing, right?
Oh, and you choose. Oh man, okay. So my thought process was you had the untapped land. You have lethal because you have 9 mana. You can go Chandra into Glorybringer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, making the dudes why make the dudes? Why not use them?
Oh my goodness. Do they have Saw Cummings in the list? No, they do not have Saw Cummings. Okay.
Okay, irrigated farmland cycle away. That is not the one, folks. That is not the one. Oh my goodness.
And this is GG's. Yeah.
Wow.
So I really want to know what that other card was. What that card in Foretell was. If it wasn't Behold, then it would be Doomscar. And then why not clear the board? Why keep taking damage if you have a Doomscar on the board?
Yeah, because if it had been Behold the Multiverse, then they would have used that instead of cycling away a land because you get to try to and draw 2. So they would be able to dig for, you know, Fateful Absence and, you know,
like, and especially like once Kiki's on the board, I would have Doomscarred because you don't know what's gonna come up once Kiki's able to tap.
Yeah. Now, there is notably, folks, Starnheim Unleashed in the sideboard. So in the boarded games here now, there are other options. That is not in the main, though, right? So that's not that was not an option during that game, right?
Mhm.
So, all right. Taraaasyk takes game one, being relatively aggressive, if not quite aggressive, at different stages, right? And just being able to continually apply pressure. The control deck has gone to the board. Who gets better post-board? Normally, the mid-range deck is going to get better against whatever matchup because it plays its role better, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the control deck, given that we see two Aether Dusks or Aether Gusts, some Dream Trawler, we see Rest in Pieces, Brazen Borrowers, Dovin's Veto, Hullbreaker Horror, Sunset Reverie, Narset Part of Veils, and Starnheim Unleashed is the 15 cards for the sideboard. Are any of those enough to really swing the matchup where you feel like, no, EricZhou is now favored? Do you feel
like I think that the control match wants to win game one. And I think the mid-range player actually gets better in game two because you just take out all your removal for better cards. Because you know your removals is pretty much dead other than your Blood Chief's Thirst.
Sure.
But you just go, okay, I can flip into hand hate, I can flip into a little bit of card advantage and a little bit of aggro pieces. Like a Thoughtseize is forcing out a counter here because you don't want them to see what's in your hand. And now a Croxa can perfectly land here, making you still discard another card.
All right, so Absorb happens, and Tenacious Underdog just being able to get down on the board early, kind of nice. If you're sitting in Taraaasyk seat, do you just feel like this is a slam dunk? Are you currently saying, considering EricZhou, 2 cards and a Foretold card, so essentially 3 cards, but 2 cards and a Foretold card against 5 cards in hand, a Tenacious Underdog on the battlefield? Is this just GG?
It definitely feels like it. I mean, like Eric does have a counter in hand, so, but even still, like you have to deal with a 3/2. And it's not even like deal the 3/2. The 3/2 can keep coming back and then provides more card advantage later.
All right. So sit in EricZhou's seat. What are you hoping to draw? What gets you out of this? What cards do you need to say, nope, actually, we're fine? How you flipping the script?
This is rough. I feel like right now they need a card draw. Like they need more cards, and this is just brutal because it's like now mid range gets to go into the hand hate mode where like now EricZhou has no cards, and you're in top decking mode. And in a mono blue list, like not mono blue, but a control list, when you're top decking, you are in some trouble.
All right. Looks like 2/2 going to trade for the Tenacious Underdog. Feels good, right? Right?
Yeah. Nope. Doesn't feel good.
Nope. Does not feel good at all.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, Taraaasyk is flaunting their advantage right now. Recasts Tenacious Underdog out of the bin post-combat, just literally to cast the card Greed, pay 2 life, draw a card. Post-combat, just saying, I do not care about my life total. I am punishing you. I am beating you down with card advantage. Meanwhile, EricZhou does foretell another card, so Duress not going to do anything against that hand. Do you just animate a creature land here, knowing they have no instant interaction?
100%. You're saying no cards in hand? Okay, time to start beating you with my creature lands.
So,
unless you have instant speed removal, which most times Azurius doesn't, you're stuck.
Now,
what a draw! What a draw!
And March of Otherworldly Light. Whoo! That's a good one, folks. Now, admittedly, Den of the Bugbear shows right back up. It's the den that won't quit. And EricZhou now has 2 cards in hand. Now it is 2 cards to 3. I was about to say, but Taraaasyk needs an untapped land, or they can't run this back. You wanted to rest here, right? Regardless of what happens, even if the land didn't come off the top, you wanted to rest, right?
Yeah, 100%. You need to see what's in the hand. Let's see what's in there. Do you have any removal for my creature lands again?
Boy, oh
okay,
boy.
So now you're forced. You can't swing.
Do you not?
I don't think you can, because you go into another phase of interaction. So Wandering Emperor can still minus to get rid of the attacker.
And that you feel like that is a significant enough advantage that you're saying from your perspective, and I think Taraaasyk agrees, that I am winning the card advantage game right now. So why give you an N?
Yeah, exactly.
Make things tough on you. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think that's a reasonable approach. Wow. Wandering Emperor does not make a dude, just goes up. Why is that?
I'm assuming they go up because they had the Doomscar.
Just because of the Doomscar? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Then immediately goes down. And you think that's a reasonable approach as well. The Croaks isn't coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now you're gonna lose your Wandering Emperor here, which is fine.
I mean, it sucks, right? Like this blows, right?
It does, honestly though, it does blow. It's one of those things that like Control loves doing. Control loves creating more time. It just needs time. You know what? That saves me 3 life. I just gained 3 life there.
Sure, that's fair. And you made it 2/2, which is not, game-ending value, but it is. I mean, that's relevant, right? Oh boy. So EricZhou up top gets him for 2. Do you snap up?
You want to trade? Yeah, they do want to trade.
Okay.
I mean, right now Taraaasyk wants as many cards in the yard so they can Croaks it again.
That is. Oh, is that a card?
That's a good draw. That's a great draw. So now you still have a mana, right? You can activate Castle and still your creature land, right?
Let's see. No, I guess you're 1 short, aren't you?
You're 1 short, yeah. So you say, you know what? Let's go for the cards. You have no cards. I need more cards. But now EricZhou has enough lands to activate Hall.
Yep. So this
that's
is
that's a 7/7,
right?
What's the ward on Hall? Is it 4?
See, I thought it was ward 3, but I'll defer to you on this one because I don't run very many decks that call for Hall of the Storm Giants.
It is. No, you're right. It is ward 3.
It is ward 3. Okay. So sure enough, here we go. Castle Ardenvale gets cashed in, or gets activated, causes a 1/1 to join the party. Hall of Storm Giants crashes in for 7, count them folks, 7 damage 2 times. Not great at math, but that's a robust clock.
Yeah, that's a 2-turn clock.
Okay, ditching the Noxious Grasp in favor of a mountain. Certainly traded up there.
Oof. So this says, hey, you can't swing in none anymore. And I'm tapped out, but you can't swing in because then I have blockers. That's a good draw.
Ooh. Okay.
Choosing to swing in, I'm assuming he's going to leave back one of the goblins as a blocker.
Which leaves you open to dying to a... Well, I guess not, right? Because you're just going to Graveyard Trespasser as well.
You're going to Graveyard Trespasser. You're going to have a blocker here.
I mean, you don't want to chump with Graveyard Trespasser, but it's better than dying. Do you exile something from your own bin just to gain the life?
I would just to gain the life, because you know that Azorius doesn't really have anything to bring things back from the yard, so their yard's not really worried about. And I see why they don't want to go for their yard, because they want Croxa.
Yeah, that makes sense. 100%. Now, EricZhou at 6, and it's all on the line. Oh boy, well that's a land.
And nothing played, so it flips. I think we can chalk this up to Taraaasyk winning here.
All right. So do you activate the menacing land, or do you go?
Activate, 100% the menacing land.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because then you can still Chandra post combat, right?
You can Chandra, but the big thing here is that you can attack without any blockers. Now, is that last card a Wandering Emperor that's in their hand? Is what you wonder?
Yeah. But you got to go for it, right? Because you can't just keep giving. You can't keep giving the control deck infinite time, right?
There's 100%. You can't get in their hand. That's all they want is time.
And being able to Chandra post combat means, if their best line is activate Hall of Storm Giants, get in front of the Graveyard Glutton, that's not very good, right? That's not a line that's going to win very many games. Yeah, you absolutely go for the exile now, right? Yeah. Okay.
100%. You're saying, okay, I can get 2 life. This looks like GG. And what could they have at instant speed? Do you think it's like a Settle the Wreckage? Is that Explorer legal?
They don't have any in the list. It is Explorer legal. They do have Hullbreaker Horror, which would be a crazy powerful card, but it doesn't really get them out of this. They've got Brazen Borrower, but that doesn't block, so they could bounce something, but that doesn't block anything good. They also couldn't block the Glutton because you got to discard a card. They couldn't bounce the Glutton. They couldn't bounce the Hive of the Eye Tyrant because, darn it, that is a land, and it says bounce a non-land, right? So, sure enough, their best line is Chump, Trade, Die.
Chump, what? Chump, Trade, Die? What is this?
Aether Gust.
Aether Gust. But you still die to Chandra, right?
Yep, Chandra is still lethal. They play to their outs, but it turns out the line they took was not actually an out. So GG, EricZhou, the People's Champion, falling to Rakdos.
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
I definitely think that this game comes down to removal. Who has removal? Who has the interaction? I don't think this game comes down to who's swinging harder, who's hitting the fence first.
Fair enough. Now, how do you feel about Toby's hand here? Castle Octane showing up just a little bit awkward, right? Because you want your Blightstep pathway to be on red, but then do you Thoughtseize? Oh boy, interesting. Okay, so the Swamp does show up, admittedly a turn late, and you're kind of upset with it, right?
Yeah.
How do you navigate this turn?
I think I definitely would have played the other land untapped first, and because if you have Thoughtseize, you need to turn 1 Thoughtseize, especially when you know that the other opponent mulliganed. You
would have taken yourself off red just to say take 1 card.
Yeah, 100%. But it's not just take 1 card, John. When you see the other player had mulliganed down to 6 to 5, whatever. When you Thoughtseize, you're getting that 1 extra card. So now you have 7 cards or 6 cards because you use a card to their 5.
All right. Also, folks, make sure you get your predictions in. Make sure you do that if you have not already. It might already be over, but I did want to remind everybody, if you haven't gotten in, to get in there.
Yeah, we are a little bit against the timeline.
Yeah.
But look at this Thoughtseize. So now you're looking down, what do I take? You know they don't have any lands, so they have to draw land to cast a meaningful spell.
All right, so you get to sit in a seat right now. Take a snapshot. You get to sit in a seat. Pick your seat.
I love picking a horse. I'm going to sit in... Who is not running the Chandra?
Frederick Tan has Chandra Awakened Inferno.
All right, so it looks like I'm cheering for Taraaasyk.
All right, fair enough. Well, that's all right. I'm going to be on Toby's side. Feels good, man. All right. So do you? Wow.
Oh, I should have picked Toby's side too. I was like, who has the Soren? Because that's the more card I was going to lean towards, because it's card advantage and a lifelinker against someone who's trying to deal damage to you. But it's okay.
All right.
It's okay. I sat. Oh no,
Well,
I picked the right list. I picked the right list. I did. All right. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Fair enough. So, now we see there's a Bone Crusher Giant over there on Taraaasyk side. Do you fire that off on the Blood Tithe Harvester? It always feels bad because
it always feels bad.
They still get the stupid blood token off of it and everything, you know, and that just turns into more cards. I mean, folks, in a lot of matchups, those blood tokens just kind of sit there and do nothing and just kind of mess around. If the matchup's going to go long, though, that doesn't say discard a card, draw a card. It just says draw a new card. Take another shot, right? Because when you've got 7 lands on the battlefield, you don't need any more. And being able to trade in a land to get 1 card deeper is just an obscenely powerful advantage. So having these extras is very, very strong. And being able to, you know, having to spend your removal spells and things on it, just feels bad. But admittedly, Taraaasyk is on the mulligan.
Yeah.
And alas, folks, that's the game we play. Sometimes you've got to make suboptimal plays. Remember, we were talking about this, darn it. Remember? I remember a very wise man was once talking about tempo and being able to just capitalize on said tempo. Well, here we are, right? That is what Toby is trying to do. They have been able to purchase for themselves a little bit of tempo by Taraaasyk having to be on the mulligan and Toby having a hand that was able to get on the board. Sure enough, Toby is spending a removal spell on the opposing Blood Tithe Harvester, even though maybe it does feel a little bad, but they get to follow it up with Kroxa. So now Toby has been able to make the opponent discard a card with Thoughtseize and been able to make the opponent discard a card with Kroxa while Taraaasyk is on the mulligan, folks.
Yeah, it's just that hand hate. It can be just brutal. And again, with those blood tokens, it's saying draw a new card. It also says, hey, I am a step closer to Kroxa being actually on the field.
And here it is. Here it is. Taraaasyk has 2 cards in hand. Kroxa is going to take another one. Folks, this is the 3rd card leaving their hand. And poor Taraaasyk, again, already mulliganed. You're already down on cards. And looks like Taraaasyk is going to Fatal Push the Kroxa. Okay, you know. Okay, they get to fight back a little bit. You got to respect that, right?
Yeah, they get win a little bit of card advantage. Well, not card advantage, but All
right, here
John?
it is. Here it is. What we're talking about. And being able to Fable and Mirror Breaker means they can discard cut if that line is prescient, right? They could also obviously cast it because removal is good when your opponent's playing creatures. Oh boy, admittedly, Taraaasyk does draw an untapped land. They have to pay life for it. That's relevant, folks.
No. Here's the line, John. Here's the line for Toby. It is attack for 5.
Yeah.
Cut my own creature.
Okay.
And then ribbons you.
Well, but cut is going to cost extra.
Cut costs 2.
It costs black, and then okay. Well,
cut is 1 in a red, and then ribbons is black X.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant, darn it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do this. You can do that next turn, is what I'm saying, right? You just say, okay, look, you're not. Nothing's happening here.
All right. So
we have ribbons online.
Kroxa jumps in front. Do you activate the Blood Tithe Harvester? Just get rid of the Kroxa.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Good heavens. Toby doesn't even think about it. Just snaps it off. That's what we're doing here. That's the game plan we're on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Tenacious underdog.
Okay. Taraaasyk, you're getting crazy here. You're getting crazy when you see ribbons over there online.
Yeah. And Den of the Bugbear, they're tapped out for this line, notably. Den of the Bugbear ready to show up, but they also get to draw another card, right? Sure enough. Heartless Act.
Good. Man, that's good.
Fable and Mirror Breaker shows up. Whoa. Tapping the Den of the Bugbear says, you know what? I don't care about getting that aggressive. I just want to be able to bring Kroxa back. Pressure that hand some more. Or not. Is that not?
Has anyone swung this game, John?
I'm not sure an attack has been made. Looks like they're gonna exile the cut to ribbons. Exiles the cut to ribbons.
Toby, no, that was my call. I called the cut the ribbons. That was the game.
Love it. Looks like Thoughtseize going away. And notably, Heartless Act can be cast here. Remember, one of those is a blood token. The other is actually a treasure. So there is 2 mana available. And boy, Taraaasyk is staring down the barrel here just a little bit. With Kroxa online, looks like, yeah, I was going to say, they've got to come out with their own Kroxa, but with the trigger on the stack, you can Heartless Act. This is GG, right?
Yeah, this is GG.
Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, battle, very real there, but tempo matters. Hey, did you see what just came in? Did you see what came in? Toby, my main man, bringing that Chandra, Awaken Inferno.
Tempo matters.
Okay. Yep, it's fair. That is fair. So what else do you want in this matchup? Is Go Blank a consideration, considering you know about Kroxa, you know, like
Go Blank can, but I mean, Go Blank can be an option, but I think right now you're just trying to go for a card advantage. You take out the Thoughtseize, you know that you're on the draw, so Thoughtseize becomes bad because they can just Thoughtseize you. Go Blanks are usually for like your control matches and get rid of the yard. I mean, it could be good here because you know that Kroxa is in, but Kroxa is only a 1 of in both lists.
That's fair. And admittedly, if your opponent's empty-handed, if everybody's top decking and you top deck a Go Blank, that feels pretty bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And it feels like, yeah, the Thoughtseizes can't be good. The Unlicensed Hearse doesn't feel great. Fry is dead, right? That's not a card. Yeah, I think I agree with Toby here. Admittedly, again, the Chandra, a point of contention here in the caster booth. I love that card. Unabashedly so. Admittedly, I do concede all your points on it. I personally would probably be playing at least 3 Chandra Awaken Inferno on the main. But I recognize its inherent limitations competitively. Oh boy, the players not fooling around here, immediately getting into the action. Taraaasyk starts on a Blightstep pathway into a mountain, into a Tenacious Underdog. The swamp into Haunted Ridge into swamp leads into a Bone Crusher Giant on the stomp side, taking care of Tenacious Underdog. Shocks in a Blood Crypt for Graveyard Trespasser to exile. No, does not exile their own Tenacious Underdog. Probably a wise decision, one might expect, but Toby has their own Graveyard Trespasser, so the card gets exiled anyway, and Taraaasyk doesn't get the life drain. Toby gets the life drain. Do you block here? Do you just say, fine, we take the trade?
Yeah, let's trade. Yeah, you're just trading here, especially when you already have one in hand.
Because you're looking forward to being able to exile theirs next turn, right?
Yeah.
It's fair. That is fair. All right, so
I think you put up what I feel like the play is here is you play your Hive tapped, and I almost really want to pass turn, or you could say screw it, I'm going to go to 19 life, have one of the Blood Crypts come in, play your Blood Tide Harvester, get a blood token, and then keep the removal open.
Is there a case you made? Well, okay. So Toby agrees with me yet again. For the record, folks, my horse and I are on the same wavelength.
You guys are you guys are both on the same plane.
Yep, synced up here. I like this line simply because you help keep their graveyard empty, so Kroxas and things are going to matter less. Notably, there aren't a lot of Kroxas, right? So it's not like, you know, it's not like it's a 4-of or anything, right? But being able to just take care of these things over and over and over, that has value, I think, especially when it comes in for free. I definitely agree with the take that you don't want unlicensed person thing in the match. Or, I'm sorry, please forgive me, in the matchup. But I kind of like the value
Oh,
Yeah.
I love this. What a play, Taraaasyk. What a play. Let's go.
Oh, Taraaasyk coming in with the absolutely vicious haymaker of Invoke Despair, get rid of the Graveyard Trespasser, draw a couple of cards in the process. Looks like Toby responds with Bone Crusher Giant and a Blood Tithe Harvester, adding 7 power and 5 toughness to the board. Taraaasyk flips their Reflection of Kiki Jiki. Summoning Sickness, though. It's relevant, right? Now, where are you at here? Is it aggro time if you're on Taraaasyk side? Because they've still got lots of cards to work with now, right?
Lots of cards to work with. Probably lots of removal. I mean, you got to get rid of Bone Crusher Giant here. Or you just say you play one of your own. Oh, that's brutal.
Okay.
Yeah, get rid of the Kiki.
These things are reasonable. Now,
Probably
do you... I'm sorry, please forgive me. Do you
No,
get...
I'm going to get the trade, yeah.
Okay, so you offer the trade. You don't Heartless Act.
Yeah. You know, I feel like the Heartless Acts are meant for Kikis.
Okay. That's just fair. That's entirely reasonable.
Now, why'd you pay the 2
life
blood
draw card? Oh, brutal. Okay, so Glorybringer from Taraaasyk. Absolutely vicious play here. Drop Toby down to 10. And require removal. This Heartless Act is in hand, notably, but it's now earmarked. You know, this is accounted for. You must spend this card, right? I mean, I'm not reading this wrong, am I? This is not you don't have extra turns because it's exerted. Do you have a guy turn this turn?
Yeah, like this is well, so technically right now you can play Sokusen's land right now. You can activate Hive, swing in, get rid of the underdog, and also Heartless Act.
Is that the line you would take?
I feel like that's a line I would take.
That's fair.
Because you're taking a lot more damage next turn if you choose not to.
That's fair. Okay. Sure enough. Looks like Toby agrees. It does go to nighttime, which is not currently relevant on the board, but thanks, Taraaasyk. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
That was rude.
John, it seems like you've played this game before.
Yeah.
2 of them. We're in some big trouble. Toby's in some big trouble.
Okay. So this Heartless Act, it's still got to go on Glorybringer, right? This is
100%. It has to go on Glorybringer. But you're still dead either way. I don't see.
There's no meat hook.
There's no meat hook. There's no board wipes. This game's over.
Yeah. I think, folks, what's happening right now is Toby is going through the list, trying to find Toby's best line, right? So this is not roping. This is Toby is like, I have very likely only got 1 or 2 outs in the entire list.
Yeah.
And
what can I draw?
Be very careful, right? And figures that actually I don't think I've got it, and is going to Heartless Act the Glorybringer, going to likely chump with the Hive of the Eye Tyrant, but this is just kicking the can down the road, right? And
it's still lethal. They have the Den of the Bugbear. They have 9 damage here.
Sure, if they go for it, which they might not, right?
They did.
Taraaasyk elects to play it safe. Taraaasyk feeling like they're so far ahead, right, that they don't
Taraaasyk has removal in hand right here.
So, Hive the Eye Tyrant and Fatal Push? No. Well, Fatal Push might actually come out anyway. It depends. Either way, down to 1.
Bone Crusher Giant in hand. Yeah, there you go. I was like, what's the line here? Unless you have the win, there's no. So this is it. This is game 3, John.
Yeah.
Take a seat now. We're even.
I think that Chandra Awaken Inferno just didn't get drawn. That was the problem in that game. If we had seen Chandra Awaken Inferno, the game would have turned out different. I'm confident. So you know, I'm on Toby's side. But honestly, I am picking Toby, but it's not actually because of Chandra Awaken Inferno. Outside of tongue-in-cheek replies, I'm picking Toby because Toby's on the play. Simple as that. Toby, I think, wants to be able to take advantage of a tempo right? And Toby wants to either have like turn one, tapped land or something like that, but they need to be able to get on the board on at least turn 2. Tenacious Underdogs, Blood Chiefs, or I'm sorry, Blood Tithe Harvesters, things like that, and be able to really kind of capture that tempo and be able to drive that home. It's a big advantage being on the play, right? So, well, what do you think about this hand? It is not a tempo capturing hand. I can say that without equivocation.
But I think this is a pretty good hand because you have a turn 1 removal, you have a turn 3 removal, and a turn 4 removal.
So you shock in the Blood Crypt when you're on the play.
The Blood Crypt, sorry, I don't see a Blood Crypt in the. Oh wait, sorry, I am in the other hand.
Oh, okay. Well, how does it look?
Oh, it looks pretty good.
Okay.
I was like, I don't see that. Then I realized, I was
going to say, Toby's on 5 lands and ended up taking the mulligan. Not an exceptional hand by any means. I think the mulligan hand is actually fine. Has to send back their only Kroxa in the 75, which is not particularly where you want to be. But I think if you're going to draw up 6 cards, I think this is a fine pick. They go with Castle Locthwain because there is no swamp. So that is always a tapped land in this hand. They go with Hive of the Eye Tyrant to represent removal that they don't have. Haunted Ridge going to be an untapped land now. Do you go for Bone Crusher Giant or you just snap off Fable and just try and...
Yeah, you're just going Fable.
Sure, that's fair. That is entirely reasonable here. Fable and Mirrorbreaker, pretty much a clean 2-for-1 in this sort of matchup, right? Where they typically have to use removal or trade a creature or something with a 2/2. But then they also get to do a little rummaging, and then you got to handle Kiki, right?
Oh, this is rough. No land, but you can try to draw into it.
Feels bad. Oh boy.
Okay, well, you draw into a land, which is still good. Wait. Do they draw another Fable? They all draw all 4 Fables off the top. Yeah. What, 12 cards?
Yeah. Yep. What does that mean to you? Do you just jam another Fable? Say Fable's good enough. Let's do it. Or do you hold it?
I think I would definitely jam another Fable.
You could hold up Bone Crusher Giant here.
You could. But I mean, like, the Blood Tithe, I guess, yeah, you want removal because there's 6 damage on board right now.
Right. And you would drop to 11, which is not dead, but it's not great. Well, okay. Nope. They say, I'm going to jam another Fable. Now, again, folks, Toby was on the play, and therefore the reason I said I think Toby's favored here, but Taraaasyk is the one with the advantage so far, right? As far as tempo is concerned. If Taraaasyk has a removal spell for this Goblin Shaman, I think Toby is way behind now, right? They take 6, drop to 11. They're doing Fable the Mirrorbreaker things, which is great, but just as far as tempo goes, Taraaasyk has just accrued so much advantage. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is really brutal. I had a look at Taraaasy's hand. I don't want to spoil anything for the watchers at home, but this is a beating.
Good heavens. 6 damage coming straight in from Taraaasyk. Brutal. Okay, so Fable and Mirrorbreaker are going to flip over onto the 3rd chapter, which is, of course, the Kiki Jiki side. Fable and Mirrorbreaker number 2 going to loot away a tapped land and draw into a tapped land.
But you know what, though? You need a double red. Like, Toby needed double red for a Glorybringer to start removing some creatures.
That's fair. That is entirely fair. And Bone Crusher Giant does also remove creatures. I think that's relevant.
And you can do 2 spells if you do Bone Crusher Giant. You have 5 mana with 2 red, so you can kill something and then put a Bone Crusher out for blocking. And next turn, you're going to have Fable online if you so choose to.
Interesting. So Taraaasyk, 4 cards in hand, which, folks, read more, right? Does elect to trade onboard advantage for being able to have more cards in hand. Gets in for 3. Toby responds with Bone Crusher Giant. I think this is a defensible move, keeping your life total at a reasonable level. But keep in mind now, Taraaasyk still has 20 life, 4 cards in hand. Oh my God.
I was wondering if they had Sorin.
Oh, man, that is...
And this is such a smart play. Taraaasyk, good on you. I love the draw here because it says, okay, you can't kill it. Oh, what a draw! You get a card with Soren.
It pays 5 life for it, admittedly, folks. How greedy are you? Are you 5 life for a card greedy?
I am 5 life for a card greedy.
That's fair. I am also in that camp, not gonna lie. Obviously not going to exert the Glorybringer because there's no point. Bashes and hits Soren the Mirthless down to 1 loyalty, but sure enough, Taraaasyk had the read.
Glorybringer says non-dragon, right? 4 damage
It does say
to
non-dragon. Yep, it does say non-dragon.
Yeah.
Soren the Mirthless going up again in a matchup where Taraaasyk was already light years ahead on card advantage, you know, being at 4 cards in hand to 1 card in hand. They just got to draw another one, right?
Oh, you love to see it. Extinction. Let's go, baby. Come on, Taraaasyk.
Folks.
Come on, Taraaasyk.
Oh, brutal. Okay, all right. So this is good news for the home team. And by the home team, I mean me. Bone Crusher Giant hits Soren the Mirthless. That needed to happen or this game ends.
Yeah, literally, that drawing that removal was good, was great.
Yeah,
you get the remove Soren and you get a body.
Admittedly, we know Glorybringer's on the way. It is going to be exerted. There will be 1 fewer Bone Crusher Giants on planet Earth, right? You're going to take 4. This is that the life total thing is very relevant here. Toby does have ways to gain life, but not many. Okay, how do you feel about your own Glorybringer here? You're not really in race situation.
You're not in a race situation. Oh, you know what I really want, John? You know what I really want? And I know what the folks at home want too. I want a cut to ribbons. Let's go. And down the life total, I'm counting Taraaasyk land. I'm like, it's there.
Yeah. All right.
It's there.
That's just fair. So if I'm sitting in Toby's seat, I think I blood Chief's Thirst here.
Yeah, you have to. While you can, you need to get rid of that Glorybringer when you're at that low life total.
It feels so bad because, folks, I want to stress this is the final. It is game 3 of the final, a game apiece.
Come on, Heartless Act. No Heartless Act, and
whoa,
yeah, let's go, Trev, let's go.
But didn't that leave Toby dead on board anyway? Tapping out.
Oh, this is so good. And now you have to discard Blood Chief's Thirst. Now you're dead.
Yeah, folks, feels bad, man. Because now, of course, Have the Eye Tyrant can come alive. But I think Kroxa can actually come out.
Yeah, you just get Kroxa out. You go down to 3, and you're like, all right, what do you got?
I mean, that's a great card.
That's a great card, but it's a little too late.
That is, yeah. A day late and a proverbial dollar short. It appears, folks, that Taraaasyk is going to be able to take down the Titan of Toby after all.
Well played.
Indeed, absolutely concur. Now, I think Toby's best out here is for Taraaasyk to disconnect. If that happens, we can, you know.
Yeah. I think Toby's best out here is hitting that little cog wheel that's up on the top right.
Okay. All right. Have the Eye Tyrant does, in fact, exile something from the bin. Glorybringer crashes in alongside it. And, folks...
Great game. Very well played.
Now, that was some exciting tournament coverage. Super grindy there. Lots of Rakdos mid-range. Definitely getting mid-rangey, but congratulations to Taraaasyk for taking down the whole event with Rakdos mid-range itself. And I want to give a big shout-out as well to our second-place competitor, Toby, for, you know, kind of grinding it out the whole day and making it to the finals. Congrats to all of our top 8 competitors. I want to give a big shout-out to everybody who was able to join us during the stream, and also want to thank JohnLikesGames and HearSayTTV for always providing top-notch commentary. I want to thank you, the viewer, for making it this far into the video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment down below, let us know what you think, and all of it would just be greatly appreciated. You can find me streaming on Twitch 4 days a week. You can find all the information to everything I just talked about, the deck list from the event, and the information on all the tournaments down below in the description. And I hope that you stay cheesy.